Hi everyone, I'm Amanda and I run the blog Major and Fangirl where I review different television shows every week. Last week, unfortunately, I was unable to film a video because I had Wi-Fi connection problems as well as crazy holiday travel, so I'm sorry I was not able to film a video. I did, however, write a review, so if you would like to see that, the link to it, if you're watching this on YouTube, is down in the description box. However, if you're watching this on Tumblr, you can just go back to my previous post and you'll be able to see that. This week, in order to make up for that, I decided to review multiple episodes, meaning there will be multiple videos. I believe I'm making 3 videos this week, and this is the first one. I am finally reviewing the crossover episode between Fox's show Bones and Fox's show Sleepy Hollow. I've been saying that I've been wanting to review this all the way since Halloween, and it's already, what, 21 days till Christmas Eve? No, Christmas Day. 20 days till Christmas Eve. So I'm very far behind, but here I am reviewing it now. So just a bit of a disclaimer, I have not seen Bones prior to watching this. I figured that if they're doing a crossover episode, they're probably going to do an episode on Bones as well as on Sleepy Hollow. Sure enough, they did, and I figured they'd probably connected somehow, so I would have to watch it in order to make sense. So I did, and it was meh. I'm not impressed with Bones, but I'm not completely disappointed. I do see some similar traits within, well, definitely the obvious between Dr. Brennan, aka Bones, and Ichabod. There's obviously some similar traits, and there are some similar traits between Booth and Abby. Those are obvious, and even the characters pointed it out. Another thing that I found pretty similar was how they, it was just, some things just seemed too readily available. Like, they would just all have a light bulb moment and they would be able to find the answer. They do that a lot in Sleepy Hollow, and so whatever. But seeing it on another Fox show is kind of making me think maybe the Fox writers kind of need to step up their game, because if they're doing that on 2 different shows, that worries me very much so. But yeah, again, this is the first time I've seen Bones, and so seeing her voice, hearing her voice, you can't see a voice, hearing her voice is it was a shock. Just hearing her, I'm not even going to mimic it, but it was unusual, and it took a while for me to get used to. But about halfway through the Sleepy Hollow part of the crossover, I finally got used to it. But I think one of my favorite parts is because it starts off with the Bones episode first, because Bones airs before Sleepy Hollow does, and so that makes sense. So you're just you see the episode, it would start, and the whole time I'm like, okay, how are they going to bring Ichabod and Abby into this? How are they going to? Because I'm not a fan of Bones. Like I've said 2-3 times, I haven't seen it before. So yeah, but how they I have to admit, I was very pleasantly surprised with how they brought in Abby and Ichabod. Basically, Bones and her whole team, they are investigating the fact that these teenagers' Halloween party went wrong, and they found the skeleton of a girl, and then when the Bones and her team, when they were going to the crime scene, looking at where the skeleton was found and all that stuff, they found a grave underneath it, it was a tomb, and it was a skeleton that looked like, and if you've only seen Bones and you've not seen Sleepy Hollow, you wouldn't freak out as much. However, those of us who've seen Sleepy Hollow, woohoo, me, freaked out because it looked like the Headless Horseman. It looked like his outfit was torn the exact same way. I was just like, oh my gosh, Brom's coming back. Yes. I was actually very happy at the prospect of him coming back, because I don't know, when was the last time we've seen the Horseman? I don't know, because I think we saw him when the end of the last season when Katrina died, before Katrina died. But I don't think we've seen him this season, actually. Yeah, I don't think we have. Wow. Unless I completely forgot, which is highly probable because it is almost finals here. So Yeah, sorry about that. If I'm forgetting something, please don't be offended. But yeah, so I was very excited when I saw the skeleton. I thought it was Abraham, but it wasn't. It ended up being General Howe. But it was funny was because you don't find that out till a bit later, and somehow through the grapevine, I don't know if I can't remember if they've really explained it, but Ichabod and Abby hear about the fact that they found like a headless skeleton dressed in like the outfits that all the British soldiers wore in the Revolutionary War. And so they just come in saying that, oh yeah, we found the body that we think that body may be connected to a series of unsolved homicides in Sleepy Hollow. And it was just, I just like how they just suddenly appeared, and I'm like, hi, I know these guys. This is so cool. So it was really exciting seeing Ichabod and Abby in a totally different setting than what they're used to. Now fast forward about 40 minutes until when you get to see Bones and Booth in Sleepy Hollow. That was, excuse me, I personally liked that version of the crossover better than the version of the crossover with on the Bones show, just because, well, it might be because I haven't seen Bones, and so I don't know how the characters are, how they're supposed to act, their relationships. I don't know the general dynamic of the show, and I don't remember what season. I don't even know what season Bones is on. I definitely know that it's been a while. It's been on for a long time. I probably should have looked it up before filming this, but yeah. So I preferred this one because the Sleepy Hollow version, because it just seemed to flow much better. They would mention, like they would by they, I mean Ichabod and Abby, during their conversations in the first part of the episode, they would reference back to meeting Booth and Brennan, and like different things that they discovered there and their experiences, and just I thought it was pretty cool. And they didn't end up calling. You didn't see Booth or Brennan, the characters from Bones, until they found. What did they find? What were they trying to look for? Oh, the fact that that Pandora got this little rune that I believe had some sort of Norse. I want to say it was a Norse symbol, but basically it was this. There was a figure of a man who had two swords in him, basically a dead man walking, and so this little rune thing brought dead men back to life. The episode's called Dead Men Tell No Tales. Very funny, Sleepy Hollow writers. That was a not the best sort of pun, but anyway, but so General Howe, he had come back to life and, well, undead, and he was kind of like a zombie thing, and so he and his soldiers came out of their graves, and they were Pandora was trying to have him kill everybody, especially Ichabod, because in previous episodes we learned that General Howe and Ichabod, General Howe captured Ichabod after Ichabod started working for the colonies, and then he tried to get Ichabod to turn in the people that he knew for a fact were patriots and were spies, but Ichabod didn't. I can't remember how he escaped. And then we also find out in this episode that Ichabod tried to kill General Howe. He was sent as an assassin, which I thought was kind of interesting. I never pictured Ichabod as an assassin, but he was. And we could see, and it was actually, I think this was actually one of the better episodes of Sleepy Hollow, not just because, there's Brennan and Booth, but just the storyline was better. And I think because you kind of delve into it a little bit in a previous episode, but they had to find I can't pronounce exactly what General Howe and his men are called. It's this fancy word that starts with a D. I'm not exactly certain what it's called, and I know I can't pronounce it. But the only way they could stop them from Ichabod and Abby could stop them, meaning Howe and his men, from destroying Sleepy Hollow and practically the whole world, is by burning them with Greek fire, which is apparently fire that cannot be put out. I've never heard about this before. Well, I think it might have actually in some other form of some other supernatural show. Maybe it was in Buffy. Anyway, but I haven't really heard about it before, but they find this out because how Booth and Brennan are brought into the show is they need to find where General Howe's original burial place was, and in order to find that, they have to do forensics via bones, and so they go to the Bones characters. I'm full of terrible puns today, and so Brennan looks through the bones. Well, doesn't look through the bones. She analyzes it like how she does because that's her specialty, and they find that it's actually that General Howe's grave is like underneath like the Capitol building, I believe. And then there's like Greek fire and it almost kills them, and it's really cool actually. That scene was pretty cool. And they separate. It's like I said before, it's really obvious that they wanted to show the similarities between Brennan and Ichabod and Booth and Abby. They really wanted to show the similarities because when they're in the tomb, they get separated by this wall and this wall door thing. And then the people that are separated are Brennan and Ichabod, Booth and Abby. So again, they're trying to strengthen that. So overall, I liked the crossover. Like I said before, I believe the part of the special was blah, blah. The part of the crossover that I prefer the most is the Sleepy Hollow one. It's probably because I'm more familiar with it than I am with the whole Bones show, but I just think like it fit more seamlessly in this version of the crossover than in the previous version. And I do wish that Brennan and Booth would have had more of an involvement in the show, the Sleepy Hollow version of the show, than they actually did, because Ichabod and Abby had more of an involvement on Bones than Booth and Brennan did here on Sleepy Hollow. So I wish that it could have been more balanced, and that it wasn't so that it like finding the answers wasn't just light bulb moments, that they actually had to like work and research for it or do things, or even have a Garcia. Here I am referencing Criminal Minds. They had a Garcia who could like find everything instead of just everyone having, oh, I suddenly thought of this, or oh, I thought, well, would you do this, or hey, I just happened to find this on the ground, maybe that could be a clue. Things like that. It works in kids shows, but not so much shows that adults and young adults and older teenagers are meant to enjoy. I think that Fox in general needs to work on this because, again, I saw that I haven't seen this a lot in Sleepy Hollow, and now I'm seeing it on Bones too. So it's definitely something that Fox is doing in general, and I think they really should change that. But despite that, I thought it was really cool that Fox decided to cross over two of its shows. I haven't seen a lot of crossover things, except for like doing spinoffs. Like the original CSI cast would go to Miami cast would go to New York, or the Miami cast or they would go to wherever the new CSI was. I know the NCIS cast went to like LA or went to New Orleans when they did film that, and then Criminal Minds when they did the spin-off series, Suspect Behavior. They went to San Francisco, where that was basically where the other team went, and you got to kind of see like both teams and kind of like transition. But unless it's like those are called backdoor pilots. So with the exception of backdoor pilots, I haven't seen many crossover episodes across television, for lack of a better word. So it was really cool that Fox decided to step out and take the risk and combine the two. And I think they did a pretty good job. I can see I was skeptical at first whether or not like this would actually work, but it does. And I'm glad that I finally got to watch this and I could review it for you guys. And so next I'm going to be reviewing not the finale for Once Upon a Time, but I'm going to be reviewing one of the more like kind of game-changing episodes. So see you next time.